Closing out the week here on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show, Leaf Hour edition. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Cristian Ceniti, right back at you, bud.
He's in.
Glad to be back, fellas. Glad to be back.
Good to have you.
Feels like it was yesterday.
Our very own Sammy McKee, what do we say, on assignment?
He's just not here.
Yeah, he's just not here.
That's where he is.
But we do have Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz, Jen Rolnick, I think is around.
Yeah, probably.
And of course, our very own Ethan Jaja Gabor. We are live on Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet 590, The Fan in Toronto, YouTube streaming. It's Jake today. See, I already screwed it up.
It's all right.
Sam was concerned about our show yesterday.
He was.
Falling a little bit off the side without Doug McLean usually to push us. But we'll muster through these 2 hours.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
You know, as you say that, I'm actually scanning your article today, trying to make sense of what you're trying to tell the people.
Yeah.
It's all very confusing.
Well, yeah, I've gotten a few. I've got an article today, my weekly article in the Toronto Star. If you get a chance, you can find it on my at Real Kyper account, X account, and there's been a few people reaching out to me going, you want them to sell, you said blow it up, and now you're saying no, and it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I just want to, I'll set the record straight.
Okay. We need this.
I do want major changes. I do want a look at the last 10 years on a big picture, big scale, and say that it's coming to, that cycle's coming to an end, and there needs to be a new cycle. Typically, since the Cap's inception, we have seen similar scenarios all over the league where you just run it. When it's over, then you have to restock and rebuild.
Yeah.
And
usually with your Stanley Cup, that's when you do it.
I put the Leafs right in the mix of things about where they are right about now.
Right.
For me personally. But as I told you guys earlier, I don't think it's happening.
You don't think that they're rebuilding or retooling?
Yes.
You just think they're just carrying on?
Yeah, my article today is really about
retooling. I'll retool you.
Leaf management, right to Leaf ownership, not ready to buy into we need 2 or 3 years to reset.
So,
retool, whatever you want to call it, rebuild. 2 or 3 years. We have no interest of disappearing for 2 or 3 years in the playoffs.
Right.
So we're gonna
compete.
We're gonna work around the edges.
So just to be clear, before I ask any other follow-up questions, they don't want to buy. I know we've done this several days in a row, but there's still no clarity.
I think they'd like to buy.
Oh my God!
I think they in a perfect world they like to buy. They just know they don't have the assets or the currency to do it.
So I guess you could buy if you were buying someone who are going to be a part of, in your words, the next 2 or 3 years where they intend to be a part of the playoff picture. So if you could trade for someone who you would have for those years, maybe that's how you'd sell it to yourself and other people.
Okay. You're asking me, or what?
Well,
there's
I'm
two
trying
things
to make
going
sense of it
on
in my head.
This is where I think I've confused everybody.
Okay.
And I haven't been great at this. I'll be honest with you.
Either.
Not a great communicator when it comes to this.
It's just your job.
Because there's two different worlds. Okay. The one that I would do, and then the one that I think they're doing.
Okay.
And I've kind of sometimes not distinguished the two. So are you asking me what I would do or what I think they're going to do?
I'm asking you what you think they're going to do.
I think they're going to come back, have a real strong push, miss the playoffs, and tell everybody that we're coming right back next year to make the playoffs. And we ran into some injury problems, and we had some guys that had some off years.
Now, in this world, have we walked Bobby McMahon to free agency to sign somewhere else for no assets? Have we walked Anyone else out the door?
I've got Bobby McMahon at 50-50, sign or trade.
Really?
I do. And
What do you think he's looking at? 4 years times?
I think he can
four and
get.
a half?
I think he can get close to $5 million on the open market.
So he's looking at a $20 million.
He's a
contract.
25 goal scorer.
Yeah.
Who is elite at the one thing that you love about our game more so than any other part in history is the speed.
Yeah. He's
He's elite. He's elite.
Can rip it and he hits. So I get it. I get why people covet him.
Yeah.
It's just doesn't. Okay, now let's talk to you, not
Yes.
what we think is going to happen. Is this not all a little insane? Like, because I'm on board with trying to win next year.
Yeah.
But all you do is you just take some pieces this year, and I don't know what people are offering, which is why I say pieces, and I'm not specifying, but McMahon is involved in that. And then you have some currency with which to add what you need.
Okay, let's use Bobby McMahon as an example. Okay.
How am I replacing?
I would say I think it'd be very difficult to get a first rounder for him still.
Okay.
Good player, but I think it'd be hard to get a first rounder.
Really?
So we're all comfortable saying for sure second rounder all day long. Is it a second and a fourth? Is it second and a B prospect? But now we're in the ballpark of that.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't do enough for me.
exactly.
Yeah.
So my point in all this is that if you have that in your back pocket now and you go into the summer, it's great that you have it because you haven't had it in a while and you're building up the cupboards.
Yeah.
But you got a big hole right now in your top 6 on the left side with no Bobby McMahon.
Yeah.
And if you are thinking about not missing the playoffs for the second consecutive year, you got to fill that hole.
Yeah.
The second and the B prospect are no good. They're good in maybe 4 years from now when you actually draft the guy and you send him back to junior a couple of times and then he's ready to play. You're 4 years away. So what you're telling me now is that you're going to take the second and the B prospect and you're going to flip them for somebody that can replace Bobby McMahon.
No. Yeah. I see your point. here. So here then is the solution.
I can't wait to hear it.
If you're going to go ahead and try to win next year and you don't think you can get a first for Bobby McMahon, then you need a contract extension March 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. So you know you've got him and you're not walking him out the door for nothing. I need to know he's going to be a part of it then. That's reasonable, right? And then I think there are some pieces that just don't fit in terms of you're trying to win a whatever next year. Definitely trying to be in the playoffs, see how good you are. Maybe you add next year to get really into the mix. There are some pieces that just don't fit that could bring you back something. I've talked about Max Domi. Matthias Michelli, they gave up a third rounder for him. Can he get you a fourth now? What's his value out there? There are some pieces that just don't work.
The danger is whatever you're grabbing right now and you go back into this world to go find, there's a better chance that you're gonna find another Michelli.
Yeah.
Right?
But you know this
You're gonna
Michelli doesn't work.
Exactly.
You know?
But you're gonna have to throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks with somebody else's Michelli.
You're on Facebook Marketplace. Like it's all broken, it's all used. There's something wrong with all of it.
Yeah.
But you just hope something's wrong in a better way.
That's where you're at.
Yeah.
Guys,
So-
I know if Sammy was here, he would have, I think, blown up. I'm trying to figure out what portion of the conversation he would have interjected in. And like, what the hell?
You're such a good boy, Christian.
Listen, I've been watching all week.
Just give me a
and
chance.
Listen, I thought I would have came in here if we're going to clear some things up.
Yeah.
I am definitely more confused than ever listening to this.
No, stop it.
Okay.
Stop it. We get confusion out of Sammy. Okay. we
need
brought
clarity.
you in as a fresh coat of paint
All right,
on
all
the
right.
Real Kyper and Bourne show. Please tell us your thoughts on what you think is the perception out there, but also more importantly, your perception.
I will at least say this perception that you're giving that the Leafs might be having here, it's a lot more, I guess, creative than some of us may think it is. We've been talking about either buy or sell. if there's a world where you're only doing the Bobby McMahon trade at that price and it's to, like you said, kind of just rolling it, get your other Michelli, get your McMahon. I would love to find if there's a way to do that by this deadline instead of the summer. I think I can buy in more on that. The idea of just doing absolutely nothing does not appeal to me. I don't know if it appeals to Leafs Nation.
No.
They're
6 points out. If they were
Yeah.
3 points out, it would be so much easier. If they were 9 points out, it would be even easier still. 6 is like nightmare distance. It's too far to catch.
Last night, could we have just told Boston and Florida, just skip the 60 minutes and just go straight to the 5 minutes?
We know it's going to be a 3-point
We know
game.
it's going to be 3 points.
By the way, Florida plays again tonight, and if they win, they will be tied with the Leafs in points and games played all over again. So the amount of teams above them in the standings, we're showing them right now, doesn't terrify you. Blue Jackets have climbed over them, but look at all the teams 61 and up. Ottawa plays tonight as well. They could tie the Leafs.
So
Same game played.
with what do we have left? 24 games left for the Leafs?
The Leafs.
25.
25.
Okay. So is there a world for you where if the Leafs don't do much, but like they play well, they don't go 17-6 or whatever. They don't do that, but they win 12, 14 games.
Okay.
Is there a world for you that if they just lost maybe one or two guys for these picks that you're talking about, like a fourth or a fifth, is there enough momentum that you can pick up on the last 13 or 14 wins that carry into next season, missing the playoffs?
I just don't see how you could imagine it going that much differently next year. Like, what would be, you're saying if everyone has their best season.
Austin's back to 50, 60 goals. Willie's a 100-point guy. Like he looks like he would have been if he didn't get hurt.
But like things happen, and you know this.
They
and it's
signed
like,
Radish. If they sign Radish,
is Morgan?
Are you well, you probably move off of Morgan, but I don't. I think
out, Radish in.
people would look at that as just not weakening the team. Unfortunately for Morgan,
right?
And you take another crack at Stolars and Wall on their potential of still being very talented guys, and this is the year they'll stay healthy.
But you did mention Anthony Stolars in your Kyper's Corner part of the article, where you said that perhaps Philadelphia might be.
Yeah, listen, it's not a strong market out there for goalies, but there are teams that will be searching around. And I went on Calgary radio the other day, and Cooley, their backup goalie, Cooley, is like looking like a real strong candidate to have a wonderful career. But they just signed Wolf. Nobody's in a position now, and we're seeing it in Minnesota, where you're going to have these quality 1A and 1B. It's too much value constantly in having a guy sit on your bench all night. So whether it's Cooley or Stolars or one of these guys, teams are calling in. Philly's a mess in net right now with Vladar kind of not supposed to be the MVP of the team.
Yeah.
Specifically on Stolars there, something I've been thinking about in this is just, I'm trying to think of the precedent, the past example of a guy who signed a contract extension and we're talking about maybe trading him 6 months later. And, the initial impression on that extension, 3.75, was that looks pretty team friendly.
Mm-hmm.
How do we end up in this situation 6 months later where we're looking to ship him out? Am I naive to think that strains like an agent relationship or a player relationship? I'm trying to think of the example.
I'll tell you why, okay? Because of a guy named Dennis Hildeby. That's why. That's why.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. This guy came on, wasn't supposed to show as well as he did, was supposed to be another couple of years in the minors working on his craft. He's come in and he's shown tremendous poise, maturity, and now it's not a perfect world where you'd want to give him full-time. It's not a perfect world where you're convinced he is now ready for the next step, but you may be forced into taking a gamble on it or a chance on it and just moving off other assets. That's why Stolarz has gone from 6 months from being this guy that was the number one goalie to is he expendable?
Yeah. Yeah, no, his last month with the Leafs, 5 starts, 957, 957, 900. Like Hildeby was legit. So one thing I want to get your thoughts on before we're eventually going to get to Gord Stellick at some point today. The Leafs are sending just a few players to the Olympics, which is pretty advantageous. Tampa Bay and Florida are both sending 9, which ties for the most, which, that's nice. Boston's sending 6 or 7. What are you expecting? What do you want to see out of these guys? Will it bother you if Matthews or Nylander goes there and sets the world on fire?
No, it won't. I don't know.
Sam's
You think it'll piss off Leaf fans to see Austin just?
I don't know. He's been so good now for the last little bit. I think it would have.
He's been pretty good. He's been pretty good. Again, Willie has spent the majority of his career very healthy.
Yeah,
he's had this groin issue that's bothered him for, what's he missed now, 10, 12 games?
Just 18 games.
18, that many?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know it was 18. But he's played hard in the last couple of games. I mean, it's a different world right now. These guys have really built this thing up the last 10 years. They've missed it. It's important to them. No, it would not bother me to see them be great. And in all honesty, I think it helps
the Leafs.
The Leafs.
How?
Because it reiterates to the fan base, and this is your point all along too. And I'm a little kind of mixed on it, but I'm starting to come a little bit more on your side. It's like they're good. Mm-hmm. They're good. Okay, let's just forget about being perfect or great. They're good. They're entertaining. They make people want to watch. They sell. And I can't go out there and find other ones like that. So, okay, and me, because I'm constantly thinking, like, there's only one Stanley Cup team and there's 31 losers.
Right.
That if you're not good enough to win it, then get somebody else. And I'm like, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, when I've really thought about it, it's like, no, just.
You ain't first.
Sometimes.
You're last.
I think over the last 3 years, the focus has been to win a Stanley Cup, right? Yeah. With good reason. Like they were in the mix for contending. Totally.
I don't know how many
totally.
years,
and we can still, even in the Marner crappy, he stinks playoff guy or Willie or all of those guys, we can really go back and just say in a few games that like there were some turning points.
Yeah.
And if they
they could have got 5 saves over the past 6 years.
You.
It's all different.
Thank you. I think that goes so underrated sometimes when we look at the Leafs' failures in the playoffs. Yeah. If they just had one of these guys just be a stud in a game 6 or game 7 over Florida.
I think it took until a few years ago for them to get out, had their goalie outplay.
But my point is that, like, okay, so there's flaws in their leadership, right? There's flaws in a lot of things with Matthews and Nylander, but where there isn't a flaw is they're friggin' good.
But can you, and do you believe that it's possible, when you go over to the Olympics, we hear about these guys that, weren't natural leaders. Oh, I went over to the Olympics or, whatever international event, and I sat beside Sidney Crosby. And we talked about it with Marner last year in the Four Nations, and I sat by Crosby and Marchand, and I forget, there's actually a quote from one of these guys recently saying how calm they were going into the overtime against the U.S. team. God, I can't remember which young player it was. But he says he was just really sitting there taking in how no big deal it was for Drew Doughty, who'd won cups, Crosby. They're taping their sticks, they're talking, they're not sitting in their bench or the towel or in their stall, the towel over their head. Like, they're able to handle those moments. Could that be it for Austin Matthews if the Americans win, or Willie Nylander if the Swedes win, gain some of that? Or is it just not who you are?
You can hope. There's still time. That's what you're asking me. Is there still time?
Yes, I am.
I don't know if it's just not in them or not in them to have that extra, whatever it is, that magic part of I'll call it the Brad May thing, where it's just like I beat my mother up to win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And
I wish I could believe in it as well. You know, it's just we have some of the evidence, I think, last year with Mitch Marner, because to your point, he was in that dressing room, went through all those things, and we still had the same conversation at playoffs. So does it affect maybe different guys differently? Is Matthews more perceptible to it than Mitch or a Willie?
Right. Sorry, it was actually, I just had someone remind me, it was actually Connor McDavid who talked about watching the winners and seeing Crosby and Doughty and all that in his Players Tribune piece.
I think that just the bars come down. That's all.
Yeah.
And you still got to create interest. You still got to sell, right? You got to sell tickets. You got to sell advertising. You got to sell.
I hate this.
You got to.
No, you don't. Winning
No,
sells.
no,
Win a
I-
Stanley Cup. Sorry.
Mid-HL right now.
I know you know.
Of course I know, and
you
I'm
know.
all at. But like, you can't also be guaranteed that because you go into this cycle where you may miss the playoffs a couple of times. The real danger is just not if you could guarantee
To pull out of
the
the
bosses that you can miss 2 years and then get right back in it. But we've got a lot of teams that have missed 2 or 3 and it ends up 5 and 7 and 9. And I wrote in my article today that it's like missing the playoffs is like getting one tattoo and the next thing you know, your back's covered.
You know, I remember when Anaheim bottomed out and then it was like, here comes the rebuild. It's Sam Steele. It's Max Jones. It's, all these guys. And it was like, oh, well, what if those guys aren't great? What if they're just okay? And then you got to go, oh, boy, our top guys aren't good enough. Buffalo, obviously.
What
a
are
great
the
example.
Flyers? The Flyers are 6 or 7 now.
Years out, yeah.
Years out.
Yeah, so
And they're talking about firing Briere, firing Jones, they're screaming at the top of their where Rocky stood and like
Stairs,
danced.
things.
They're shouting from there, get rid of everybody, start over again. And it's like, holy moly.
It's just, we come in here day one next year. Leafs training camp's underway. They're dressing their full team for the first exhibition game, and it's McMahon, Matthews, Domi is the top line. Immediately, it's no good, and it's Michelli and Tavares, who's a year older. You get Dakota Joshua back. Chris Tanev is maybe playing, but you're without Morgan Riley. So, I get your point that you can't intentionally bottom out and be guaranteed to come back. But some changes need to happen if you sincerely push here.
I totally agree, and it goes back to my first instinct that there needs to be changes and major changes, but you also run the risk of falling into the abyss.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the Leaf management and ownership, majority ownership now from Rogers goes, no, we're the Leafs, man. You don't get to take years off making the playoffs.
I think part of what could save them is they can kind of have their cake and eat it too, just because of the internal cap rising. We're going to get $8.5 million. We're going up to $104 million next year. I don't know if you have to take out that much salary this year to still have change, to have new pieces just because of that bump, right? You
that is going to help. They'll have some money to spend. So then, assuming the plan is to just go, okay, we're just going to hope we're healthier next year, cross our fingers. Is it still Brad Tree living that gets to make these decisions?
I think I don't think it'll fly completely.
Yeah.
So whether it costs Brad his job or not remains to be seen. But I think at some point you're going to have to hold someone accountable here.
Mm-hmm. And from there you decide.
And they did that with Brendan.
Yeah.
Right. They did it. They did it last season with Brendan, and this team was supposed to make the playoffs. We had them in the playoffs. It was just a matter of, hey, do they finish first, second, or third in the Atlantic?
Right.
And, but they're better built for the playoffs. And it's like, oh, by the way, are we sure they're built for the regular season?
Yeah. No, they definitely need to
We
be
didn't
a
have
little
that
bit faster.
conversation. Are they built for the regular season?
I know you spent so much time.
We had it built for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think it's a tough sell to the Leaf nation and
To just say this year was a waste, nothing happened, same roster next year, try again.
or in same guys making the same decisions. Yeah, that won't fly, I don't think.
I think for me, I was open to a change at the GM position when we've had the 0 for 5 homestand. But I think a lot of time we have the conversation, whether it's trade, firing, especially at the coaching position, who is the guy? Who is the next guy? A lot of times we have names maybe at coaching, but GM, it's easy to say fire Brad Treliving, but I like to be convinced on who the next guy is. And I couldn't think about that until on Monday. I don't know if you guys caught, there was an article in The Athletic. I think it was by Myrtle and Max Boltman. He's the Red Wings writer there. And it was talking about the agent to executive pipeline. And they gave 3 prime examples that kind of had me thinking, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing a fresh face there. Kent Hughes, Jeff Jackson, who's president with the Oilers, Kent Hughes, GM of the Habs, and Bill Zito.
Yeah.
Pretty good resumes all around. I think Zito had a GM experience, but reading that article definitely gave me the idea of, okay, it's one thing to fire Treliving, but I could definitely come around to that idea.
I can buy into this new world of those type of guys that have
Tough first job, man.
Yeah.
Here's Toronto.
No.
Montreal was tough
I don't think you're going to get
right?
in.
Yeah, but they had Jeff Gordon with them as well from the
This
Rangers.
is where, again, you can go back and, okay, it's Brendan Shanahan. Okay, you felt like you needed a change. You needed to sell something different to the fan base. Brendan, it's, you're the one. You're gone. But they didn't replace him, and they just really now put everything on Brad Treliving.
Yeah.
And, he's got a few, Clancy, I think, is in there, and a few others. Prindham, of course, has been there for the last 10 years, but there's no Brendan.
Shane Doan's there.
Shane Doan's there, but
Yeah, they
there's
don't have a
no
president.
there's no Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah.
So if someone does come back in and just becomes the general manager, I still think there needs to be somebody else with him to bounce some things and just to check some things off. I think there's a lot of things that kind of slid this year where, just as an example, this whole thing on injuries, right? Like, it was crazy. We covered it.
It was until it wasn't, and then they just flipped.
But where was they flipped, and then everything was okay. And it's like, okay, you're giving us information, and it's not like you're carrying the Da Vinci Code in your back pocket here. Like, please, like state secrets and nuclear, combinations.
Yeah.
Like, come on, please.
Totally.
And then, but like, where was somebody to tell them that early and go, this won't fly? And then they changed. They made it about face, but like not halfway through the season or 60% into the season. Like, where was that? Where was that somebody to tell them, guys, like, we got to fix this?
Totally.
So do they come back and bring somebody else with the general manager, or do they just put somebody by himself again like that?
Did they not see some value in the cash savings of moving off Ujiri and Shanahan and say these guys are both making whatever, 10 mil from Ujiri or 7 for Shanahan? I don't know what the numbers were, but 20 million between the two or something close. Was that some of the motivation to just say, do we even need this money or these guys for 20 mil? Now are they going to go, okay, let's pony up again?
I have no idea, but the question is that you're looking at the end result right now here, close to it, and
Bobby Webster's been there for years, and he was there with Masai. He's got all the tips and tricks, so they're hanging in there pretty good.
Yeah. The other thing with if the Leafs were thinking about somebody as an agent per se, Pat Brisson, Wade Arnott, Ian Pulver, whoever these guys are, you got to have someone like a Brendan Shanahan with him.
Yeah.
So Bill Zito just didn't go from being an agent to Florida winning Stanley Cups. The guy spent, 7, 8, 10 years in Columbus with, Yarmo. So, I mean, he was learning.
Yeah.
Like, Kent Hughes, hey, great job. But who's beside him?
Definitely.
Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
Right?
I do struggle with the conversation.
So-
because you brought up the point. Like, it felt like a year ago that we were talking about trying to consolidate kind of how many people are making decisions. Even if you just do Leafs, not MLSE wide. Even like with under Dubas and Shanahan, some of the talk was too many layers as far as decision making goes. And to already be back at going to add those layers, I think there's a balance. It's the right guys that you need.
Stopped with Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. And he was paid handsomely.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't care how many people you've hired. I don't care if it was like 160 or 1,000 employees there. It really, at the end of the day, fell in his lap. And he wore it. And he does what most captains do on a ship. You go down with it.
Breaking news. Brayden Point out for the Olympics. Did not see that coming. Our own
Zach
Elliot
Hyman?
Friedman is reporting. I haven't seen the replacement yet, but God, it has to be Zach Hyman. It just has to.
It has to be. Right-handed shot.
Yeah. I mean, more goals than any other NHLer going back to
Yeah.
December 10th, almost 2 months now.
Yeah.
We should go for Gordo.
Okay. Just like that. We'll take a quick break. We go to Stellictricity, our very own Gord Stellick. After the break, you're watching and listening to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Is our Stellicktricity here, Cristian? Oh.
There he is.
Coming all the way from Italy. Let's welcome him in. Oh, where are you?
I had some pizza, so kind of. I'm near a pizza joint. I think everyone in Toronto is. I'm in my basement here. I got actually pretty good collectible stuff around here. I'm set, watching mixed curling, watching a little snowboarding, and I'm pumped, ready, set.
Are
for the
you?
Olympics.
Are you? And have always been a real glued to the set Olympian?
Big time. Like you put those 5 rings, I'll watch anything. I'll watch rhythmic gymnastics. Like, is it the ribbon or the ball? And what I miss is I love getting Sports Illustrated, right? And they used to give you a thing that I would keep, and it would predict gold medal, bronze for every event. So you'd have a sense of, who's supposed to do well in the event. And of course, Sports Illustrated doesn't exist anymore. So I love it. Every 4 years, whether it's summer or winter, I'll be glued to it.
I don't know if you saw the news. Brayden Point is not going to the Olympics. That's a heartbreaker. Seth Jarvis going. For my money, Jarvis may be one of the most underappreciated players in the league and a huge personality. If he played here in Canada, Gord, this guy'd be a massive name.
Well, he was used draft pick of a Canadian-based team. Lou Lamoriello had to ship that draft pick to Carolina to absorb Patrick Marleau's contract, and that's a litany. All those first-round picks would be great. But you're right. He is a great personality. He's what every team needs, right? So I think a lot of people, I don't know, they're thinking Scheifele or other people, but that's a nice pick. Very disappointed for Brayden Point. Yeah. Very disappointed for Anthony Cirelli. But Seth Jarvis is a guy, people, he's one of those guys, does some fun media stuff, has a real fun, doesn't speak in sound bites personality. Yeah. Of course, in Carolina, you can do that a bit more.
That's true.
Just speaking to a few people prior to that, Zach Hyman, I'm really surprised they didn't go down that path. And I like Seth Jarvis too. I think he's been terrific too in awesome. Carolina.
Well, I take it they had Connor McDavid's line figured out, because that would be the perfect thing for Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman being on it. And boy, give Zach Hyman credit since he's come back, scored a ton of goals in that. And if he wasn't hurt, he probably would be. But again, it was always going to be just when things were initially announced and Sam Bennett wasn't on the team, there's always going to be the top 1 or 2 or 3 that missed. So we shall see how the selections pan out. But I guess the 2 guys that were dear to the head coach, John Cooper, aren't going.
Yeah, I actually spoke with Hyman on our broadcast the other night, and I was like, have you thought about it? Is it motivating? And he's like, no, I just hope no one gets hurt. I hope, I'm sure this hurts him, right? Like, he had to be as close as it comes. We might as well talk about the Maple Leafs. They're in, I don't want to say in disarray. Are you a believer that they are in a playoff push still?
Okay, push is a bit of a stretch. They are still in the playoff sphere. How about that? The 3 wins on the road.
Politician.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whether it's Toronto, Ottawa, Florida, you haven't pushed enough. Anytime you've pushed, you've set back. But you look what Tampa Bay's done of late. You look what Buffalo did. You look what Nashville did. One of those teams can go on a real tear, because you're going to have a real great record. And when I say why not be the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs are one of those candidates. I'm not saying they can do it. They really haven't shown that kind of consistency this season. But the way the way they played before the blip, unfortunately the blip happened, and then these last 3 road games, they're still in the periphery.
Gord, all week we've heard about conversations, either shows that you've been on, our show, newspaper articles, the fans, Fan 590, conversations, blow it up or just tweak it. And while it may work for other markets, ultimately, would it ever work here, that the potential of a rebuild and possibly missing the playoffs multiple times, 2-3 times, and then coming back bigger, stronger, better in the perception of how the cycles work? I mean, is Toronto's market excluded from that?
Well, I don't know about Toronto's market, but I think any hockey market in general. No, you can't do it. Like, look already, you lost Mitch Marner. How do you like them apples? Okay, you lose a star player; they're hard to replace. You are committed to what you've been doing. You have to believe that if you don't make the playoffs, as do the Winnipeg Jets, that you got to go back at it for another year. You've got to think you were like the San Jose Sharks when they missed the playoffs the 1 year. Now, granted, they kept their pick, so they got Logan Couture. Then they came back and make their playoff runs, and one time they made the final. Even John Cooper's Tampa Bay Lightning finished out of the playoffs 1 year. They believed that was just a blip. They stuck with it, and they ended up winning, staying in the playoffs, winning 2 Stanley Cups. Buyer, seller, it's not that easy. You got to make a deal that works for your team. And all the sell and all the buying hasn't worked with these first-round picks. So you're stuck, you're screwed, okay? So Bobby McMahon, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, what, you want a second-round pick? What for? You want him on your team next year. Get another Bobby McMahon. Get another Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Get a Michael Bunting like you did a few years ago. You're built around Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, that kind of core, and you got to go at it one more year. Seller, it's a sexy word. It's a disaster. It's ugly. You can't. It's a mixed bag. You got to go at it one more time anyway to say this just wasn't our year. A lot of things didn't go right, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen 2 consecutive seasons.
All right, I love that. I love the idea, and I do agree that you can really get yourself in trouble by selling, and then there's no guarantee of a bounce back. One of the positions they do have an excess at is they seem to have 3 goalies, Gord. Would you be okay with one of those guys going out for something they could flip to help that core you're talking about?
What do you get, a 4th-round pick? I mean, like the teams that are making the playoffs all have a goalie. So maybe they want a depth, so you get the 3rd goalie, whatever. So you get a 4th-round pick. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, so, if that comes, fine. And it looks good that your cupboard, which has nothing in it. Yeah. Like, you look at the next 2 drafts, they might as well not book hotel rooms, okay? They should sleep in a tent, and just basically go in, draft quickly, fly home, okay? So I'm being a bit of a smartass, but you got a good point, Justin, in that hey, the Troy Stecher waiver pickup. Everyone wants the big move, okay? The little incremental moves, if you do more of them the right way than not, you get better. I mean, we're like a Darren Radish of the world. I mean, these kind of guys, like a Brandon Bussey of the world that nobody was talking about. And the guy now is like the winningest goaltender for Carolina. And the other guy now, it may be a 1-year blip as far as his totals go, but it seems like he can play defense in the National Hockey League. So, that's to me where your pro scouting comes in, and you got to hope you get 1 or 2 of those types. It's not like you stay status quo. I think a conversation has to be had, and I'm sure Morgan Riley would welcome it in the offseason just to kind of figure about that moving forward. But yeah, the blow up does not guarantee in the slightest, particularly now because you don't have the future assets that Montreal has or San Jose has or Anaheim has to do it.
Okay, now it's my turn to be a bit of a smart ass here.
Kyper's trade board. Kippy gets everyone excited. Yeah, the more trades, you get paid by the trade. That's why you put 800 of them in there.
Okay, Mr. Former General Manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, how do you satisfy the fan base who want major changes and get them back into the playoffs next year comfortably? Who stays? Who goes?
Hey, Kippy, it's not a simple answer. The answer is everybody wears it. Starting with Keith Pelly, who had a lot to say 2 years ago when he came back, Brad Treliving, Craig Berube. We didn't think they'd be that accountable, but you go there, and the whole players, the leadership core, whatever it may be. Okay? So that's the thing. You got to make sure it doesn't happen again. Like I've said to you many, many times, this team started the season not like the team that made the playoffs 9 consecutive years, like the team that got killed at home in games 5 and game 7. That's how they seem to play. How did they forget to play defense? I know the goaltending wasn't as good for a good chunk as last year, but how did they forget that team defensive style that they seem to, at least whether embraced, but played Berube's way? So yes, there's no question. There's got to be accountability about certain things, and it can't happen again. But unfortunately, it has happened, and there is no miracle on ice or miracle at the trade deadline.
So what about some of these other teams in the Eastern Conference? Like, it's not just a matter of the Leafs this year trying to get enough points to get in. There's a lot of other teams that are very good. Do you think Florida, who I just saw on my Twitter feed not that long ago, could still be a buyer? Like, could Florida still be a team that makes the playoffs? Do you believe in these 4 teams that haven't been playoffs in Detroit, Montreal, Buffalo, and Boston?
So I'm looking more at the West now that I'm thinking teams that aren't used to being
Okay.
in the playoff race, right? There's 5 of them battling for 3 spots, right? When you're talking about Utah, San Jose, Anaheim, teams like that, Seattle, like to me, that's the one because they've got assets, they've got young players, and that's why I'm a little puzzled about Sean Wright, why they would be looking to do that out of Seattle. So I'm looking them that, boy, that's the kind of team that you could get an add-on. The biggest guy is off now in Panarin. I mean, that kind of was your Seth Jones, Brad Marchand type, which Florida got last year. So I can't see them being able to make that kind of bold move, but we probably will have 1 or 2 surprises. But, Florida didn't win the Stanley Cup because of those additions. It's solely because of that. They won because of their core. Same with Tampa Bay. Same with all the other teams. They've always been the cherry on the sundae. So there's no question Eastern Conference teams will be in on it. But my intrigue is the West that has cap space and where I really think it can make a difference.
Justin Bourne asked me a little earlier in the show, should Leaf fans be upset if Nylander and Matthews just laid it up in the Olympics? I went, no, not really. I think it'd be actually a good thing. But do you expect them to dominate there? Do you expect them to do well and Leaf fans would be okay with it?
Why do you call him Justin Bourne and not just Justin, Nick Kypreos? You guys got a problem? Everything fine?
Things are very formal here today.
Oh, okay. Hey, Daryl Sittler out there, 50 years and all that. We talk about what happened with him when not just that 10-point night, but also the big goal in the Canada Cup and how he felt it grew his team. I think it'd be awesome if they go light it up. I mean, part of what's happened is before the blip, Austin Matthews got his game together, and good on Willie Nylander after middle finger gate. It becomes less of a middle finger gate issue that he came out and played like Willie Nylander. So I just think it'd be great. I'm cheering for Canada, so I'm really not cheering for them. I'm cheering more for who's on Canada. But hey, I want to see great players at the Olympics have great performances, and I think it'd be great. I don't know why fans would be pissed. I think it would show even more so why you've got to retain that and build that and cultivate and believe that's still there for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Gord, what was your 2014 Olympic viewing experience? Where were you for the gold medal?
Both times I've been at the cricket club.
Oh, nice.
Where Kippy used to be a member, and then we upped our standards. And it was, it actually,
is it actually for cricket? Excuse my ignorance.
Oh, yeah.
No, there is cricket.
Yeah.
Do you play cricket?
There's a beer league cricket. I played 1 year in the summer, but there's serious, real serious cricket there, that don't belong to the club. And we do miss Kippy at the club. In 2010, I saw Kippy and Darren Pang and Bob McKenzie and James Duthie, right? Yep. So that was the big one. That was during a normal time. That was like, the golden goal of Sidney Crosby, and Kippy had the line the snake and step on the snake and suppress the whatever. It was.
How do you remember this stuff?
Because I got no life, right? I sit in my basement down here, look at the pictures, and wait for your calls, right? And then 2014 was a little earlier, and it was funny that didn't have the same pizzazz, right? Mike Babcock had kind of a system that, except for Drew Doughty, they all kind of adhered to, and that so they won it. It didn't match the magic in 2010, but both times that's where I've watched the final, and with a group. It's fun watching with a group.
You got any predictions?
So
gold, silver, bronze.
Really the best thing would be that if USA won, a repeat of Miracle on Ice. Yeah, I really don't care about growing the game, but it would help. I just think.
Kind of Canadian are you to say that?
Well,
Sammy would bar you.
McRae.
Well, I'm just being honest. I'm cheering for Canada. I got to say my half roots, my God rest Ernie Stellick, the Czechia team, is one that I really like as far as about kind of a team that can be a pleasant surprise. Well, I don't think they'll really be a surprise, but I just think that's going to be one to deal with. Hopefully the ghost of Dominic Hasek isn't there as well. But I'm Canada all the way. I love the commitment that Connor McDavid, that piece he wrote in the Players Tribune. I mean, you guys have talked about it. Elliot talks about it. Man, these guys are in. I don't like comparing to other sports. I never think that's fair. Like we're better in hockey or whatever. But there's a level of it that is just off the charts about how badly they want to play for their country. I love it. It's been a long time, 12 years. Let's go. Let's kick ass Canada. That's what I'm picking. Yeah.
Great way to end our segment, Gordo.
Thanks for bringing the heat, Gordo.
Well, yeah, sorry it's not sexy, the trade deadline, but life can't be sexy all the time. If they want that, just tune you guys on weekdays, afternoons, okay?
There's women all over the world watching this going, "You're sexy."
Well, if there's okay, I'll talk to you off air. Whatever. I know Lisa's not watching, so whatever. Just DM me.
All right. The wonderful, the talented, the sexy Gord Stellick, everybody.
Thanks, Gordo.
Take care.
I like making them blush every once in a while.
That was good. 2014. So 2010, you were there.
Where? Vancouver?
Yeah, the Vancouver.
yeah.
And 2014 as well, or
No, because Sportsnet was not involved in that one, I don't think.
Okay. But you were there with one of those consortium panel things.
When we went there, we didn't.
And that was this before or after
It was us
you
and
said
TSN.
mean things about the TSN guys on Twitter. Was this,
I think after.
was it after?
I think after. So we went there.
By the way, I love that.
We all had thoughts that we were all going to kind of not sure what games we're going to do, and didn't even know that we were going to do every single game every day.
All 3 games from like noon till bedtime?
Noon, 4, and 7.
Like France v. Latvia, you're in there?
By the end of the tournament, like everybody had the same jersey on for me. Same colors, same names,
You're
same
speaking
everything.
languages.
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty cool, though.
we I don't know, we did like 28 games in like 13 days, 14 days. But it was fun. It was great. And we weren't in any press boxes. They built us a hydraulic desk above the Zamboni entrance.
Cool.
And then when the Zamboni came off, the desk would disappear
Yeah.
underneath the seats.
That's very cool.
And then we just sit in our normal season ticket holder kind of seat. And I don't know, I'm 6 rows up on Sid's goal.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really
Probably
cool.
some pictures, I imagine. I would love to do that one day. That's definitely a career goal, get involved in
Buddy,
some Olympic hockey.
I'll get you there. Just keep plugging
Stick
away.
with you, pal.
I'll get you
My
there.
plan.
Christian, how are we doing so far, pal?
We're halfway there.
Alec Martinez, former LA King Stanley Cup champion, will join us when we return.
Yeah.
We'll get all the dirt on Panarin becoming an LA King. We go national next on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Do not go away. All right. Closing out this week in style here. It's a real Kyper and Bourne show. We go national. We are live on Sportsnet 360. Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, 960 in Calgary, YouTube, streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. When you can't catch us live. Nick, Justin, Christian in for our very own Sammy. Doing a terrific job, by the way.
Thank you, fellas. I'm sure Sammy's enjoying Mexico. God knows he could use a break and a lot of Leafs Nation from the Leafs. But
he sent us a picture. He's already there.
There you go.
Sunshine.
This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in former NHL defenseman, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Alec Martinez, who's coming to the dark side.
Yeah, doing some media now.
Doing some media.
Knows his stuff.
Will change his mind.
Incredible career. You know, like I think maybe underrated. You look at the length of time he played here. We're going from 2009 to 2024, 862 games plus 73, multiple Stanley Cups, 130 playoff games. My goodness.
Cherry on top, Stanley Cup winning goal.
Yeah, not to mention
not too bad.
double OT Cup.
On that note, let's bring him in. Alec Martinez, man. Like, you can't get buttered up better than that, can you?
Yeah, I know. I need to do this stuff more often.
That's a one-time intro. I can't do it again.
How is
that's
it?
fine. I'm comfortable with that. Just
How is it?
I don't really like those intros.
How is it going on the other side here? I know you've been doing a few games. You've been working with, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vegas and Chicago a little bit.
Yeah. It's been fun. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a broadcaster yet. I've just done some broadcasting, you know. But no, it's been fun. You know, I've been able to learn from a lot of really good people, and they've set me up, you know, for success. But it's been good in transitioning, you know, out of the game. I think it would have been pretty tough if, you know, I had just retired and then just sort of quit hockey altogether. So it's kind of kept me involved. I mean, I always would have followed my buddies and kept tabs on them, but it kind of forces me to watch a little bit more hockey. And it's been good to just kind of scratch that itch as I try to figure out what's next.
So during your career, were you much around the league, or was it more focused on you and your team per se? I know you mentioned that it kind of forces you to watch a little bit more, but where would you been on the scale when you played?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I had multiple landlords wonder if I wanted the NHL package on TV, and I said absolutely not. You know, like I said, I'm like, there's no chance. I get enough video at the rink. Like, I'm not gonna, you know. It's like if someone's a plumber, they don't want to come home and fix their own toilet. Right?
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. So no, I was never much of a. You know, I guess I just didn't watch a whole lot of hockey, and then I'd say I started to watch a little bit more later in my career. As you know, a lot of us got traded from LA, so I ended up having more buddies, you know, spread around the league a little bit. But yeah, just it was never a real big fan of watching it. But you know, now that I'm not playing, and you know, I've got 2 young kids, so I can't catch everything, but I certainly try to watch my buddies and keep tabs on them.
It's funny, you know, I just had this conversation with someone the other day, was talking to a guy in the Oilers and about where the Florida Panthers were, and the player in the Oilers didn't know. You know, he was like, oh, are they doing badly? Like not even aware of where they're at in the standings. How many guys per team would you have called like hockey nerds? I know, like, I played with Kyle Opozo. He was really into following things close. Patrick Kane has a reputation for that. Would you say more guys are these hockey nerds who follow it close, or more guys like yourself in a room?
I think it's probably a pretty good mix. I mean, I think there's usually a couple that are really into it and watch everything. But you know, I always enjoyed my time away from the rink, and that's not to say that I didn't enjoy, obviously, my time at the rink. But I thought a balance was good. It was good for me mentally, and you know, I had other hobbies, I guess, and I think a distraction is just healthy every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, I'd say I probably fall somewhere in the middle, but it's pretty evenly spread. But there's always like 1 or 2 guys where you're like, come on, dude, like turn it off.
Oh.
Like go.
No, the stats of like the other conference's best D-men.
So in my Ranger days, we'd hot stove in the lobby. Sometimes we wouldn't even get to our rooms. It'd be like sitting down and just start talking. And it was myself, Eddie Olchuk, Glenn Healy, Phil Bork, Mike Hartman, who did not get into broadcasting.
So you loved it. You were a hockey nerd?
We'd go around the league.
Okay.
This guy stinks. He's no good. This guy's great. Why don't we trade for him? Yeah, all of that sort of stuff. So when you are watching closely, who's caught your eye? And obviously Vegas with the Marner signing, the trade for Anderson. Many believe that they're ready for the next level here. But overall, who's impressed you the most?
I mean, I guess you kind of mentioned it. Like I keep tabs a little bit more on Vegas and Chicago, just, it being my two most recent teams. But I'd agree with you on the Vegas standpoint. I think, it's no secret that they're fairly aggressive in that regard. And if there's someone that they, deem that can make their hockey club a lot better, then they go after them. And they've proven that year in and year out. But I guess a little bit of recency bias, but I just worked two of the games in Chicago and really impressed. I think they struggled a bit last night, but impressed of what Blashill's done there in bringing some structure and some accountability and things like that. And seeing, some of those young guys really flourish under that. I mean, it's we talked about, Bedard plenty on the broadcast especially with him matched up against Celebrini the other night. But, a young guy like him that's flourishing, Nazar, just a lot of different guys. But I guess in terms of like around the league, it's all about like my buddies and who I know. Like I played with Marco Sturm for a bit. And so it's like I tune into Boston stuff more, and I would have never like tuned in, but I tuned into that outdoor game, and that was pretty fun. Probably the best ever. But
Boston's got to be one of the biggest surprises too. And we didn't really know much about Marco Sturm, but like he is doing a hell of a job. And if you're talking about a coach of the year, man, he's got to be up around the top of the list too.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was going. I've been really impressed with them. I'm not surprised though. He was a really good pro, had good attention to detail. I mean, obviously his career speaks for himself, but he was so good to me as a young guy too. We actually spent a lot of time together because I was still living in the hotel when he got traded there. But they've been someone that I've been impressed by. But it's just like the Colorados. I mean, I know that they've always been good, but the season that they've had so far is pretty incredible. But I mean, truthfully, I probably keep a little bit more eye on the West just because I live out here, and then I played my entire career there. So, and I obviously tune into the Kings here because I live in LA now. But I just have two buddies that are there now, or two or three. Most everyone's gone. So. I just stick to the West.
It's funny. I'm actually working on a book right now called Code of the West with Daryl Sutter, and talking a little bit about his past. And I learned a fascinating tidbit the other day. He's telling me about when they're in San Jose and his son, Brett. He's like, he played with Alec Martinez in San Jose as kids. I was like, wait, Alec Martinez played in San Jose as a kid? You have some overlap. I didn't know that was sort of where you came from as a hockey player.
Yeah, that's like when someone puts you on the spot and it's like two truths and a lie, or say something that people don't normally know about you. But yeah, I grew up in Detroit, and my dad got a job transfer. He worked for General Motors and had like a 2 or 3 year assignment in Northern California. So when I was in middle school, we moved there, and that's where I played with Daryl's son and played for the Junior Sharks. And I actually had a pretty good team. We made it to the national championship game and lost, which was a bummer. But so Daryl was obviously pretty busy with coaching the Sharks at the time, but spent a lot of time with Brett and Wanda and Chris and all that, on especially, traveling the way that we had to travel, especially back then. I mean, hockey's huge here now, but back then it wasn't as big. So, you'd have to travel a pretty significant distance in order to just find teams to play. But yeah, we spent a lot of time together, New Year's Eves together. You know how all that stuff goes with, the holiday parties and in the hotel rooms with all the parents and kids.
Just in terms of the theme out there, particularly in California, you won a cup there, and we're seeing San Jose go through a bit of a transition. Anaheim's pushing really hard, and then most recently the LA Kings with Panarin. Just your overall thoughts about Panarin going there, and what can he do for that team or that market? That last time I checked, there were a lot of stars in Los Angeles, right? In the sporting world and entertainment world as well.
Yeah, it's action packed in that regard. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the Panarin trade, I'm not really that surprised. I don't think it was any secret that they were, struggling offensively, and he solves a need for that right now. But I think they're probably also looking forward with this being Kopitar's last year, that you're going to lose a lot of offense through him too, and I guess through him, I mean, both ends of the rink, big time being as much of a two-way center as he is. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I think it was a good deal. I think it was good that he wanted to go there. But yeah, and they get him locked up for a couple of years and establish, I guess fill a need now and for the future. But you had a good point too. The one team, I've worked a couple games when they played Vegas, but Anaheim's really impressed me too. Their young core is really taking a big step, and I mean, every time they've played Vegas, they've given them a hell of a game and beaten them. I think both times I worked the game, but yeah, and then San Jose's coming up. I just worked that game against the Hawks, and I don't know. There's just so much youth in this league, and guys that are so skilled that. I mean, I know it's cliche to say the league's in good hands, but it's really cool to see, all these different kids coming up and really how quickly of an impact that they're making. I mean, I feel like, aside from a few guys like the standouts like Ovechkin and Crosby and all that back, at the beginning of my career, it took most of us a couple of years to get it established. And it seems like these guys are just doing it off the get-go. So it's been pretty fun to watch.
Alec, one thing I've learned a little bit is just that the Kings community there is almost like you guys are a small town team, right? Like you're in most guys in Manhattan Beach area. It's a smaller sort of piece of the town. And I wonder how your life changed after scoring a double overtime Stanley Cup winner. Does it come up? Is it like Joe Carter's walk-off here in Canada? Are you eating off that thing or what?
No, not at all. I know it's like a boring answer, but I don't really think about it that much. Like the only time that I'm reminded of it once a year on June 13th that everyone tweets at me, the video and all that on the anniversary. But I don't know. I guess this is kind of a smaller town, the beach communities, and I mean, people are super friendly and super nice. I guess I'm just basically lying because I was at the bank the other day and someone brought it up to me. They're just like, hey, I was at the game, and I was like, oh, cool, man. Like,
cool. See you later.
Pretty fun night, But that's one. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to someone just a couple of days about that, the tight knit community here, and I think that had a big impact and translated to the on ice performance of our group those few years when we were really, really in the mix. And yeah, it was a cool place to live. I mean, you could hop on your beach cruiser, like a 1-speed bike. And if you can battle the hills, you can be at anyone's house, in 5 or 10 minutes. So that was pretty cool that we all hung out together, that we were all fairly close knit. And at the time it was like, I just thought every city was like that, right? Because it was the only thing that I knew. But, soon did I discover that, some cities weren't laid out that way. So it's a pretty special place to live. I mean, I could probably throw a football and hit Jake Muzzin's house, Matt Green's house. I mean, Dowdy and Stoll live down the street. So I don't know, a lot of those guys are gone now, but back in the day, it was pretty fun.
A lot of guys are gone. two that aren't Kopitar and Drew Doughty, and they're still very important pieces on that team. I imagine you're not that surprised all these years later.
No. I mean, you could just watch one game and know that those guys are going to have really long careers and be around for a long time. But yeah, it's really impressive what they've done. I mean, it's a testament to the work that they put in, their talent, all that. And, I actually just saw a couple of them the other day for Quickie's 40th birthday party that was conveniently landed when he was out here in LA. So it was fun to catch up with them, but yeah, it's really cool to be able to see those guys and see them playing at such a high level still. I mean, obviously Doughty going to the Olympics for Team Canada, and then Kopi doing what he's doing. So been fun to watch.
Yeah. I saw you take to Twitter the other day and say, does anyone have any requests for anything to break down? You're looking to get into this media thing. Is there anything that you see now that you're following media closely that you feel like it's missing, like that hockey media needs an injection of?
Well, yeah, that was, it's kind of the reason I started doing these breakdowns on Twitter, and Fuda referred to it last week as my manifesto, the tweet that I actually had like 3 or 4 people reach out to me asking if my Twitter account had been hacked. I hadn't tweeted in 10 years. And then all of a sudden I just dropped this novel on the people. But no, it was just kind of an idea that, I mentioned it in the manifesto, I guess we'll call it. But I've always been a really big football fan, and there's a lot of guys on the internet that break down plays. And while I know the game of football, I don't know it in, that well or in that regard. So I always ate that stuff up. I really liked watching it. And I think just being, maybe a defenseman or just a pro athlete, knowing that the little things make the biggest difference. I always enjoyed learning and watching that. And, I had done some breakdowns and, in some of the broadcasting that I'd done here and there. So I kind of had this idea, and, I'm not, if anyone's seen any of my breakdowns, they can tell that I am not the most well-versed in the social media world. I'm still very much learning, but I mean, to my knowledge, I didn't really know of anyone doing it. And so I kind of saw a hole in, I guess, in the market, you'd call it. And I figured I'd try it. I talked to a few people. I kept my idea under wraps for a couple months and bounced some ideas off some people. And then, ended up recording one. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. People seem to enjoy it. I just think that there's so much talent in the NHL that doesn't necessarily show up on the score sheet or through, skating, passing, shooting. I mean, you guys know hockey, you can see that stuff happen. And there's just so many things that go into a goal or a particular play. And there's so many guys that probably don't get the credit that they deserve. And if I can shine the light on some of those guys and show how talented they are and show some of the skill, and at the same time, teaching some of, the fans so they have a little bit more of appreciation when they watch the game. I mean, it's a win-win for me. So I've kind of felt that there was a little bit of a niche there, and I'm trying it out. Maybe it turns into something. Maybe I never do it again. I don't know. So it's just very much an experiment right now.
Okay, here's one from my manifesto.
Okay, what do you
real
got?
Quick here. And you're the perfect guy to ask because you played the position, you played it well in all 3 zones. But I do watch hockey a lot, and the one thing that I see through various maybe young players, of course, there's the learning curve of the position, but I see less and less guys, or I see more and more guys not identifying their own zone who the most dangerous player on the other team is. And I mean, what have you watched in the last little while in the transition from when you started the position in your career to the end to what you're seeing now? What are some of the issues? Because, Alec, in my day, like a 2-goal lead was almost a lock. And when you lost it, you felt shame beyond belief. You didn't even want to go look at your coach in the eye. Now we're seeing teams come back from like 5-1 and 4 and 5 goal gaps closed. We saw in the outdoor game. Like, what do you attested to that a team can go and blow a 4-goal lead late in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the league has gotten younger. I think that has a big difference. So just the lack of experience. I mean, I think of the way that I would defend when I was at the beginning of my career versus towards the end, and the game had changed. It had gotten a lot quicker. It had gotten a lot faster. I think, throughout my career, I learned to be a little bit more patient in the way that I defended. And I think just, obviously the more reps you get, the more experience, and it's easier to identify that, like you mentioned, the most dangerous guy. But I think it's just a younger group. So there's a little bit more inexperience that perhaps, opens up a team to giving up leads like that. But I also think that the game's just a little bit more open. I think that the teams that have won as of late, I think that's a fundamental in hockey that'll never change, that you have to go back to structure, and the teams that are the most structured and adhere to that within reason. I mean, I don't think like the Devils of old is going to win, in today's game, but I just think the game is a little bit more wide open now, and the teams that are the most successful are creative, but within a certain boundary, if that makes sense. But I don't know. It's a younger league, the inexperience. It's just a little bit more wide open. It's a little bit more run and gun. I mean, I remember the West being, like it was like a different game when we would play someone out east, and then we'd play, the Anaheims, the San Jose's, like what they referred to it as Death Valley, right? Back in the day when they would have to play us, the Kings, the Sharks and the Ducks. But I don't know. It's just it's a lot faster. It's a little bit more run and gun, and I think that just leads to more offensive opportunities. And maybe guys are skilled. Maybe
a little more forgiving too, right? From the coaches, they just they got to accept it. To your point, like I'm dealing with a defenseman on my team that's played less than 100 games. It's like,
yeah,
crap happens.
Well, I was actually going to ask that. I'm watching Matthew Schaefer right now, which, I don't know what that is, what species that is, or whatever it is he's doing. But like, do you think this is going to be a thing where there's more defensemen that look like Lane Hudson or Matthew Schaefer, these guys that are jitterbugs, and the way they walk the line and the way they cover is almost with their feet, almost more like a Duncan Keith used to defend than, a more physical, imposing type defenseman?
Yeah, I think I had this conversation the other day. I think that's where the league is going. I mean, the how I was coached, towards the end of my career versus the beginning. I mean, I remember growing up, it's like you put your stick between the guy's legs in front of the net, and then you can control him. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, that's an automatic penalty, right. And that's what I was taught, in Pee-wees and all that growing up. And you can't get away with that stuff now. But I think it's just transitioned more to defending with your feet and with your stick and body positioning. That physicality is obviously down, but it's an element that has to be there in order for you to win, the physicality side of things. But yeah, I don't know, the kids coming up are just so skilled. I think I talked to I was recently on a podcast, and we were talking about that at the beginning of my career, it was, say there's 5 skill categories: skating, shooting, passing, you name it. And guys would have probably, be really good at 3 of the 5. Well, towards the end of my career, in training camp, it's like you see some of these kids come up and they're 5 for 5. They can skate, they can rip the puck. Yeah. Like I remember, it's like, yeah, some guys would have a really hard shot. Some guys would kind of, be in the middle, and then, some guys would just have a complete muffin. Well, like I think everyone just cranks it now. So the skill level is just higher. And I think that's kind of where the position is going. And Schaefer in particular, I mean, that kid is good. He's fun to watch, but I think that's just where the league is transitioning, and guys are being taught to defend differently, and it's just more skilled now.
Alec, great stuff, man. It's great catching up to you. Congratulations on an amazing career, and love to check in on you every once in a while. Best of luck with everything.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. I'm around whenever you need me.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, man.
That is.
Can you play defense for the Leafs?
No, I'm very much retired.
All right. We'll call you for media purposes. Thanks, man.
Yes, sounds good. See ya.
3-time Stanley Cup champion, Alec Martinez. That's a guy that you could tell he's just a student in itself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's just, you don't really know what that means, but
I got to tell you.
He talked about attention to detail. He talked about structure, and the teams that are most successful are the ones that can stay disciplined, stay within their structure.
I'm talking to Daryl about this stuff every day.
Sheldon Keefe, right? His comments earlier.
Yes.
No structure, no nothing.
And I'm talking to Daryl about those Kings team, and you're talking about leaders. A lot of the book is about leaders, and he's saying, who's the captain on that team? Why was he the captain? I'm trying to ask him these questions, and he's going, you could have given that C to 8 to 10 guys in that dressing room. Any of those guys, all the teams they won with, the Chicago team that he was on the bench with that went to the final against the Pittsburgh teams, they had Dirk Graham and Steve Smith and Brent Sutter and Chris Chelios and Eddie Belford. He's going, all these guys are leaders. And I'm thinking about the Leafs when I'm saying this. All these teams that he had success with, he's talking about their leadership and how they got 8 guys that could have worn the C. And you remember he went to Calgary and they didn't give out the C?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have it. He didn't see it there. And you look at us talking about the Leafs. Who should have the C? And for a while, it's like, I don't know, Morgan, maybe John. Maybe. If you don't know, you don't have one.
Just go back on Stanley Cup championship teams, right? And of course, Daryl's talking about his, but like even Florida, we know Barkov is it.
Yeah,
but if there was no Barkov, there could have been a Reinhart, a Bennett,
Marchand last year, Ekblad.
Like, just go down the list, right? You can pluck one and get away with it all day long because
and this is the theme of these teams that win is they got 8 guys who are grabbing guys and saying, okay, that's not how we practice. We don't do it that way. So the coach doesn't have to come in every day and tighten screws. Guys are tightening screws for you without having to do it. So it's I don't know how you select for that with your team necessarily, and I don't think you can build your team on that before talent, but you need some of that with your talent.
That's the key right there, right? I feel like we've had the conversation, especially in Toronto, of trying to tape the leadership on has to come with the talent, and that's the key of Florida.
We brought in
right?
Ryan O'Reilly. It's okay. Well,
yeah, and he might be the best example of them as far as talent's concerned, right?
For sure.
And
would have been great if he had stayed. That's for sure.
God.
Yeah.
Game time?
Yeah, we can do game time now.
Let's game time it up.
Let's do some game time. It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Let's stay topical here, coming off of the Alec Martinez interview we just did. How about the Alec Martinez Bowl? We got the LA Kings and Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Lots of good rivalry games in general on the calendar to end the going into the Olympic break. Give me the LA Kings here, plus 110. No Artemi Panarin for them. He's going to make his debut after the Olympic break. And then, another rivalry matchup here. Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning. Give me the chaos result. It's definitely not good as far as Toronto's concerns in the playoffs, but how about a Florida win plus 160 would put them even with the Leafs?
That is 160, eh?
Plus 160 for the Panthers tonight. No Brayden Point, no Sorelli.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
Yeah, not bad.
Perfect.
And that is game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
So you mentioned Florida and Tampa Bay. Florida played really hard last night against Boston.
They know these are big games going to the break.
And I don't know what's left out of Florida, but whatever they have, they're leaving it they left it on the table last night, and I think they're going to do it again tonight, which is incredible because again, they have so many Olympians going there, but these guys they're not checking out.
But they just have something special that they're trying to not let slip through the cracks. I think I've done the perfect versions of Leaf seasons in our first hour. For Florida, the perfect version is Tkachuk gets up to speed, Barkov comes back, everything falls back into place right at the right time.
I know Brad Marchand scored did you see his shootout winner?
Yeah.
Oh my God. The guy's going like 1,000 miles an hour and goes backhand top shelf, which was incredible to watch. But I don't know what these guys have left to give at the Olympics.
Push. Oh.
No, even at the Olympics. Like Bennett has been battling. Marchand's battling. I'm like, what is... they're special guys. There's no question they're special guys, but how much can you squeeze?
Do you have worries about those guys for Team Canada, given, the wear and tear on them? And
I do. Yeah. And I mean, it's the stuff that we know. What about the stuff we don't know?
Right.
Right?
If I had to single out one guy who's going to benefit most, maybe not from an injury aspect, but Nikita Kucherov for me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just in the Art Ross race. He's going for a third straight Art Ross. He will be a month off for the Tampa Bay Lightning, while his competitors, as far as Art Ross is concerned, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, they're grinded. They're grinded.
He's been on fuego.
We should game time that one next week. Look at Art Ross for Kucherov.
Just for the numbers.
Did you do the Sportsnet predictions at the beginning of the year for individuals and stuff like that? Because I took Kucherov as an MVP.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Looking pretty good.
He's in tough against Connor still and Nate,
Yeah.
but he's right there now.
Everyone always looking for reasons to pick someone other than the guy who has 96 points, McDavid, and drags everyone into it. Kucherov is doing it for Tampa Bay though in a year they've been badly hurt. He's in my mix too. McKinnon, celebrating at fourth maybe.
Okay, we'll take a quick break here, catch our breath, and then we're going to come back and have a little bit of a conversation about Connor's Edmonton Oilers, particularly Leon Draisaitl, who had
Love this guy.
some choice words, post-game words off of a loss to Calgary last night, which brought in questions on the coaches, the players, the system. I don't know what. I think he just took a big swing at everybody.
He really did. It was
Why are you so pissy?
Which is funny too, with no games left to be played for them. Just a punch on the way out the door.
I love Leon like everybody else. I'm looking at you. You loved it. I'll tell you after the break why I didn't.
Love it.
That when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Cristian Ceniti in for our very own Sammy McKee. Just a reminder, we are off tomorrow and returning to action next Wednesday. Did I get that right?
When the hockey starts. Yes, you did get it right.
The Olympics start on the Wednesday?
Well, the Olympics start tomorrow, but I think the actual men's hockey
Yeah,
tournament
it's
starts.
the only thing that really matters for
That's
us.
the Olympics to you.
No, I'm like Gord. I'll watch...
Biathlon.
Yeah, that one.
That's the one where you cross-country ski and then shoot targets. I'm not sure why that's an event, but I guess we used to do that.
I don't know. This world's
Canada,
crazy now. I think
hunting and trapping.
I think that happens daily now somewhere in this
Yeah,
world.
Fair enough.
The Edmonton Oilers
Mhm.
go into this Olympic break like limping.
Yeah.
3 straight regulation losses, giving up 16 goals.
Yeah, and they were averaging 5 goals against per game prior to that, I think. Like, their defense has been real bad.
Like, how concerned should Oiler fans feel?
Quite very. Like, I think you were looking for them to take a step from being a team that the last couple of years got hot at the right time. You know, everything came together and they went on playoff runs. You're kind of hoping they would just surround that core with a couple of key pieces, solidify the goaltending. They run away with the division. The Oilers haven't won that division. I mean, in this whole Leon Connor time, they've always been in the 2-3 game. Like, just go win the division, do the thing, but it's happening again. So I would say you haven't won the cup doing it this way in the past. You wouldn't feel good about it right now.
We had Kevin Lowe on, and he was strong on the point, and it's not that it's not a strong point. It's factual that a guy like Evan Bouchard in the playoffs has shown that he can
Awesome.
tighten it up when he needs to.
Mhm.
Well, they kind of need it now.
Good point.
So it's like, if you can do it then,
Pretend it's then.
yeah, just pretend we'll call this the playoffs and
Yeah.
do it now.
You could probably trick them. They could probably
But it's
Truman
just not
show
him.
them.
It's just the whole team in general with that attitude.
Yeah.
Is that you've shown that you can win. There's certainly a strong element there because you don't win rounds to get to a Stanley Cup final without it.
Yeah.
But like,
It's real tough for me to point the finger at Evan Bouchard. I think the simple answer is you just look at the moves that they made coming out of last year. Andrew Mangiapane hasn't worked out. 2 trades they made that I think, this one was actually 2 years ago, the Matthew Savoie trade for Ryan McLeod. We saw him in the lineup, but he hasn't become an impact guy. Maybe it is early there. Ike Howard as well. You trade one of your better prospects, Sam O'Reilly. Maybe, once again, maybe you don't expect an immediate impact, but we haven't got it. And then Tristan Jarry, the most recent one. 4 additions that haven't added enough.
Right. No, I think that's a great rundown of it. And so last night they lose, and Leon is what did he get called once? Pissy.
That was the line, yep.
Leon, why are you so pissy? And Leon
was that Mark Spector?
I feel like
No.
it was Jim
Who was it?
Yeah, I think
Matheson.
it was Matheson, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Either way, he's not wrong that Leon gets like that. And I think Leon is right to get like it. Sometimes I'm looking forward to hearing your take on it. Do you want to listen to the clips and then talk about it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm not sure if there's an order we should do this specifically. Why don't we do number 2 first on what's wrong with the Oilers, and we'll get into the other ones.
I don't know. We're just giving up too many goals. I don't know. Just can't defend. Penalty kill is not great. But there's many things that are part of it. It's just not good enough right now.
Okay, so really dispirited about the whole thing generally.
All good.
You okay with that?
No problem.
Clip 3 then on team's inconsistency.
Just not consistent enough, and it just leaks too hard, to just like lollygag through games and try to get winning streaks going. And you need everybody. It starts with coaches, like everybody. Like you're never gonna win if you have 4 or 5 guys going. And it starts at the top. We can be better. Our leaders can be better, and yeah, we'll take the break and regroup.
Do you think that stems from the fact that you guys have had so much success over the last couple of years that maybe...
No, we're a different team. We're not the same team. Like, we're not as good right now. We're not even close. Like, we need to understand that. Like, it's time. Obviously, there's a break now, but when we come back, we gotta get going.
Tell me what you liked.
Do you want to hear the third and final one?
Oh, there's more?
There's more.
Oh, my
Clip
goodness.
number 1, Draisaitl.
It goes hand in hand. Like, we got to defend better. We got to make it easier on him, and then I'm sure he can be a little bit better too. You know, it's a two-way street, but it starts with us in front of him, and then the game becomes a little bit easier for him. But I think there's saves that our goalies need to make at some point.
There you go. Everyone caught a bullet from Leon.
Anything on the owner?
Yeah. So that was a lot. You want to know what I liked about it?
Sure.
I like that he's invested and that he's passionate, right? This is his team and he cares and he wants to win, and it's been bad.
But he doesn't need to prove that to me. I know that already.
Yeah,
Why are
okay.
you so pissy?
There you go. I'd rather have it than not have
Yeah,
it. So
okay.
I like the fire.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's fine before going into the break that guys aren't going to the beach and being like, all right, now we get to turn off, and that he's kind of got already the focus tuned back to when we come back, this thing matters.
Yes.
Your turn.
Yeah. Okay. So what you're telling me is everybody's on like red alert.
Red alert.
You can go to your beach, put the sunscreen on,
Eat protein, get to bed.
eat, drink as much as you want.
No.
But like when you come back, you're coming back to win and to work.
Yes.
I get all that for sure. But here's the but part. Okay. And I will stay consistent for what I've been all season long about when you put stuff out in the public like that, there's sometimes consequences.
Yeah.
And there's no question that when he starts out talking about the team lollygagging, and when he expresses not once but twice everybody, and the next thing out of his mouth is coaches, right? Okay, that's crystal clear here that you start naming what's wrong and you start with the coaches. And
Starts at the top.
and then he goes right into not 4 or 5 guys. You know what that means? Not me, not Connor, not Zach, not the Nuge, and not Bouchard.
It's the rest of you bums.
No, not. It's not the rest of you
Okay.
bums. It's, hey, coach, what have you done with about 16 of our other guys here?
Mm.
Where is the coaching on them? Where is the demand on developing them to support us?
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere to be found. That's what he's saying
Yeah.
to Knobloch.
Yep, great.
When I talk
observation.
about like the fallout and the consequences here, is that if this thing doesn't turn around and they're not either in the Stanley Cup final or winning the Stanley Cup, like Knobloch's done.
Yeah.
Done.
Mhm.
And not that that shouldn't happen, but it shouldn't happen with Leon publicly coming out and declaring that. I love Leon. I don't want him to have the reputation of like being a coach killer.
Well, he hasn't. I don't think he has yet.
No, but the danger of calling out your coach like this is that if it doesn't work out for Knobloch, people will assume that Leon got him.
And he might say, yeah, I did. He might say, yeah,
But
he
you
wasn't doing it.
But you don't want that, JB. You don't want that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm telling you, for players,
he wants to
it's-
win.
I know he does, but there's others that can do that behind closed doors where it never gets out.
It was very much the first sort of, hey, there's 24 games left, and if you don't figure out what you're doing back there, that's enough. Because I'm going to be here. I got a nice contract, you know.
He does have a nice contract, but he's also watching. Like, I've committed my career to the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm watching wheels spin in the mud right now, and it's scaring the hell out of me.
Yeah, it was really fascinating because it felt like he came up against the edge. Like he could have gone farther on the coaching thing. I'm curious what specifically he's not happy about, but he did.
No, it's the 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah,
it's us. It's just
starts the coaches, starts at the top,
starts at the top.
Yeah,
and I can only use my experience of Mark Messier the year before I got there, and it was Roger Nielsen. Okay, and listen, Roger's this wonderful hockey legend in our world, but there's a lot of things that were conflicted with what Mark believed on how to win a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And Roger had no Stanley Cups, and Mark had 5 of them at that point.
Yeah.
So Mark could have easily come out a few times publicly and said, I don't really, something, in the regards of it's not working and the coaches need to No, nothing public. Just if you've got something to say, there's a president, there's a GM, there's a owner, just figure it out. But players should not go down that path.
I think it's funny because there's sort of like this soft way of doing it, but like what you're talking about, I almost feel like it's a bigger deal to go to the team GM and say, this coach isn't doing it. This coach, whatever. Like that to me is like a declaration of internal
It happens
strife.
all the time.
It does.
Every team.
Yeah, for sure.
With their leaders. Okay. When push comes to shove, I'm not changing 5 of my star players, so I'm going to change the coach. Yeah. It's that easy.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a thing.
To start going public with it puts you in a.
This to me is him trying to do breadcrumbs so they can find their way there on their own. But the breadcrumbs was whole loaves of bread. It was maybe a little too obvious.
What do you guys read in the timing of it? Does it matter to you at all that it came going into the Olympic break? Like we opened this conversation
I think with Leon, I think it just falls out of his mouth. Like I don't think there's any strategy,
That's
which
fair.
is maybe to your point of the problem.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. And
he gets frustrated. And it just happens.
And I will stay consistent on this with your PR department. Man, you gotta. These guys are your spokespeople. They will set the tone. They will send the message. They are.
Do you never want them to
so
talk
important.
when they're frustrated?
No,
I
do, but you need to have such a rapport with your PR guy where the PR guy goes, "Hey, listen, if you mention anything about Knobloch, you have any thoughts and idea you want to run by me?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to say that we can't win with 4 or 5 guys, and it starts with the coaches.
Yeah,
and the PR guy is supposed to say, "Okay,
hear me out.
If you want to do this, just know that when that happens, it puts the spotlight on Knobloch, and people are going to be wondering, the relationship, is it healthy? Is it good? Are we prepared for that? Do we want to go down that path? Are you willing to go down that path because you think that it's a last resort to turn this thing around?" Right. And I don't think with 25 games to go and a 3-week break, it's a really good thing to leave on.
What do you think about calling out the goalie? Because he, as gently as you can say, you got to stop the puck at some point. Well, I don't even know if he said it any differently than that. He basically said that. Any problem there? Why don't we hear from Jari? Tristan Jari said,
okay.
So a couple days ago, we played a clip from Jari where he said, I can't even judge my own game because the chances against me are so bad. Let's hear if anyone got to Tristan Jari. Clip 1.
I think it starts with me. I think I could be more accountable, and I think I could play better. I think if I play better and stand in there strong for these guys, I think we'll have some better outcomes. And I think it starts with me, and I think I just have to be better moving forward.
I know you haven't been with this group long, but do you get a sense of where this team is heading into the Olympic break and what's left to accomplish when you come back?
Yeah, they're a really good team. They have some great players, some generational players, and they put the puck in the net a lot. So it's fun to watch, and it's fun to be a part of. And I think moving forward, I just have to stand in there better.
Hey, you ever heard a guy be on a team for that long call his team they? That's crazy to me. That is a crazy.
They can score goals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have some good players. You're we now.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Outside of that, really the only thing he could say is I've got to be better. And he nailed that part. That was the only place he could go.
Totally. But it does feel like someone was like, hey, this is what how you got to handle it. That was great. I'm not trying to pile on because he obviously saying the right things now, but hopefully he feels more included in the group as they get through the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Assuming he's the dude. All right, Kip.
We solved nothing. Hey, just to reiterate what we talked about earlier in our Leaf edition, the news about Seth Jarvis now joining Team Canada at the Olympics as Brayden Point is now ruled out. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Is the right decision, man. For this guy to go in at 60 or 70% makes no sense.
No games prior.
For a team that should be challenging for the Stanley Cup too, right?
Jarvis
Big picture.
Buzzing too, so.
All right.
Too bad about Zach Hyman. Would love to have Hyman on there. Jarvis, a deserving pick too.
Our thanks to Alec Martinez, who joined us, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. In the Leaf Hour edition, it was Gord Stellick. If you get a chance and you're just joining us now, go back and download us. Download us until next Wednesday when we're back on the air.
See you then.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, everybody.